point of that. That's why I like the idea of the revolution. It begins with an evolution from within. It starts within yourself to have less war with people, because it takes two to have war. It takes two to argue. So just imagine.
But it takes one to shoot the first bullet, though.
Of somebody, you know, the one person who comes to you and gives you crap, you know, or somebody who puts you down, you know. But see, then the thing is, of course, you got to when somebody really attacks you and tries to harm you, you know, you got to protect yourself there. But I mean, usually what happens on a day-to-day basis, we all go through that. We have our arguments. We have arguments with our spouses, with our children, you know, with our co-workers, with our bosses, you know, with people, whatever, you know, at the grocery store, because, you know, they're cut in front of the line and we give them crap. And that's what I mean, that's where it begins. To not fuel the fire and to kind of learn to be more peaceful and to know that we don't need to change others, because ultimately that's the reason for why we have all this war, and that's where it begins on a personal level, because we're trying to change others. We're also trying to change other countries. We're invading their country because we're sending peacekeeping forces over there. I mean, how crazy is that? Peacekeeping forces, this is just nuts, you know, like freedom fighters. We fight for freedom. Freedom is free. You know, we were all born free. We just become.
But what if we have the perception that others are not as free?
Say that again?
If we have the perception that other people are not as free as we are,
well,
maybe it's our responsibility as fellow humans to make those freedoms available to them as well.
I hear what you're saying. Absolutely, this is totally valid, you know. But then there is also you got to look at the root of the problem. Why are some people not free? Why, for example, is there all this war and violence in the world and has been throughout human history? Because there's a deeper agenda, because war is business. And that's why things are going to change. And they have to change, because this has happened throughout human history. And not only people have suffered because we have created all this bloodshed around the world throughout human history, ever since the beginning of time, and we have also greatly damaged this planet.
Saying war is business can be relevant, but to a point, because an 18 or 20-year-old kid who is going to war who's going to die for his country, I don't think it's about business. You find people there who are very dedicated to the flag.
Yes.
You know, so they will take a bullet
right.
just for what they believe they're fighting for, which is the freedom against others.
But you realize, you know, that this is going for somebody who was born in the United States. This kid goes for somebody who's born in Germany. It goes for somebody who's born in Asia. It goes for somebody who's born in Russia, right? So, I mean, if you look at it from a bigger picture, you know what I'm trying to get at.
I see what you're
going. All like,
it's just that I don't want to dismiss the sacrifice of some people. The sacrifice that is actually coming from a genuine place.
Right.
Where, okay, I will go and fight for my country. Like after September 11th, for example, the number of new officers or new fighters.
Right,
you know, the recruitment was so easy for the army.
Of course.
Everyone was just wanted to fight. And that has nothing to do with business.
Of course. But see, let me just try to draw a different picture, you know.
Yes.
The idea of fighting, who are we fighting? Anybody? Who we fight? We're fighting the enemy.
Yes, well, by definition.
Right.
Have to fight
but that's just, I mean, we gotta look at that. The enemy is also created because the enemy is us. We're fighting each other, you know. The thing is, we cannot say like it's Al Qaeda, it's these people, you know, in the Middle East who are the bad people, they're the terrorists, you know. I mean, look at how we here conduct ourselves here in the West. And I always thought to myself, if people somewhere in the Middle East or wherever, you know, they look at America like they're the enemy, and America is looking like they are the enemy. It's like talking about communication, right? How about that? Maybe, hey, why do you think we are so bad? So maybe how about having a dialogue instead of bombing, you know, the other people because we say they're bad? Because that's just like ugly.
I totally am with you. I totally agree with you.
And we're killing other countries and we're killing people over God. I mean, that's just the worst. It has happened hundreds of years ago. And we're still doing it. So again,
and because human nature has not changed.
Right. Which is, yes.
I don't think we should expect to behave any differently today than 1,000 or 10,000
right. I love
it
that you said that human nature hasn't changed. You know, because I try to make it very simple. I know it's a very complicated, very complex issue, but I'm trying to make it very simple. For example, when we look at God, to me, God is nature. God is everything. We are part of nature.
Even nature changes, by the way.
Yes, of course. But what I mean by that, we're part of nature. We just have become. We are part of nature, but we're not part of nature because we're human beings. We have a mind, you know, and according to the Bible, because of that, we were thrown out of paradise. Beginning of human history, kind of the beginning of the end. It's because we have dominated nature. So what I mean by that, if I look at a child, for example, I see they are nature, because they're natural, and how they express themselves, and how they feel, and they're honest. Unlike we then become, because we condition children to not be natural anymore, to not think for themselves, to not express themselves when they feel like expressing themselves, because everything is about be the way we tell you to, and that is not our nature. And that has been our nature throughout human history somehow. You know what I'm saying?
That is not our nature.
That's not our real nature. See, because this is our conditioned self. It's not our real nature. I mean by that our higher self, our authentic self, our God
exactly.
self.
See,
that's what I mean.
But it's part of us.
Yes, of course.
It's part of us.
Of course.
So that's our nature.
Well, yeah. Sure.
Because if you want to say the other part is the higher self, our higher self, therefore it's our nature. No, this is also
of
part
course. Yes,
of our nature.
Yes,
it's just that it happens that this other bad nature that we carry around,
bad nature,
yes. It's more preeminent. It has more force and more influence.
Yes, because it's everywhere. It's like we can't really escape that. The conditioning and the mind control. I think that's a very important issue to look at that and how we have been mind controlled. And so I believe also what's really happening as we go through the emotions and we go through all this conditioning. And we just go through school and work and, we become adults, quote unquote. It's kind of like we remember who we really are. Because this is not who we are.
No, I think this is due also to the fact, you grow up, you are kicked out of your parents' house.
Kicked out.
Supposedly when you are 18.
Kicked you out of paradise. Hey, why did they kick you out?
you can all of a sudden you're outside, you realize, okay, I need to pay rent, I need to pay for electricity and my clothes, I need to afford them. So your needs mold you to become or take a job to become someone that you
might not be. Right. And that's also part of the human dilemma. I mean, it's a conundrum.
So,
right.
But how do you get out of that?
Well,
many successful, quote unquote, we still have to define success. But many millionaires will tell you, "Oh, just do what you're passionate about."
I agree with that. I go for that.
We all agree with that.
Of course.
But to what extent that is true?
Yes.
Really. Bob Marley wanted to be the best soccer player that has ever lived, but we're singing his praise today again.
Right.
We're still singing his praise. Pele wanted to be a musician, but he is the best soccer player.
Yes,
so
passion is important.
Yeah. To what extent then you follow your passion?
Because then also the question is.
So we should assume Pele and Bob Marley are not happy people. We're not happy people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, happiness is ultimately a choice. And it's always fascinated me if you look, sometimes, you look at most of the children here in the United States who have all their video games and all their stuff, they're not very happy, they're angry, they're stressed out.
They're fat.
Yeah, I know, they're lazy, they're bored.
Nothing bad.
They're bored. And then you look at some images, from people like in Africa or somewhere in the poorest countries and they play soccer, they're smiling and they're having fun. Right. So it's an interesting thing about happiness. What can really bring you happiness?
What is happiness?
Right. Well, it's a state of mind. It's a state of being. I think it's part of our natural state. We're born happy. We're just made unhappy.
Are you sure we're born happy? We get out of our mom's womb and we start.
Well, we get fed.
We start crying.
I know, of course.
Our first sound is a cry. And how can you say we are born happy?
No, but I mean because we're scared, of course, and then we need the mother to care for us. We get fed, and we somebody change our diaper and burp us. But then when we become toddlers and we explore the world,
do you think we're happy?
Yes, because do
you remember being a toddler, by the way?
Yeah, not really toddler beyond that, But see, I'm different, right? I'm speaking hypothetically, right? Hypothetically, I know I was very unhappy,
I was about to say you the happiest toddler
right. No, I was a terrible child. But I think if you look at really children, how when they communicate with you, when they play, they have fun. Children know how to have fun. I think children are masters at the art of fun.
Hey, because they don't have any bills.
Well, excuse me, fuck bills, That's
but it's true.
But see, that's the thing about money.
It's not money, it's bill. It's a different thing.
Well, if you have money, you don't have to worry about the bills, right? Yeah.
They don't have a big obligations.
Right.
They don't have any.
Well, let's make it a little
we
bit
don't
more
expect
simple.
much from toddlers.
Well, let's make it a little bit more simple. Children are free. We are free.
Do you know at what expense children are free? Supposedly free.
No, I don't know what the extent is.
Of course, someone else has to pay for them to be free, to enjoy the freedom.
Let's see. Let's just. We gotta,
No, you have to take that piece. It's
And
an
of course,
important piece.
in this world,
Which world are we talking
Well,
about?
you
I
know-
thought we were talking about this world.
Well, we're actually what we're talking about is the question is how this world is supporting our true nature and how it conditions our nature, and what is really nature, and to see, if you look realistically, look at this world, and you see the turmoil all around the world, and all the tension, even within our society, people are struggling, and homelessness, and violence, and homicide, all this stuff. I think it's really important to also kind of look at that with questioning eyes and like, we have created this, right? But is that really how it's supposed to be? Is that really, how do we really condition each other? And how do we...
Christophe, what if, in answering your question,
Sure.
is this really what it's supposed to be? What if we say yes?
Right. Many people do that. They
What
don't
if